Well, hello everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of Movie Passion. And in today's video, I want to take a closer look at probably the most unique Adam Sandler movie that I have ever seen, Reign Over Me. Now, this is a movie about love and about friendship, no doubt about that. But if you would ask people what this movie is about, most people would say, well, this movie is about Charlie and his problems and how he is dealing with the situation of having this old friend coming back into his life and trying to help him to overcome these problems, even though he doesn't really want this help, but he definitely needs it. But, this movie isn't really a movie about Charlie, it's a movie about Charlie's friend, Alan, and how he is dealing with the situation of having this friend who suffers from those problems and how he is trying to figure out how to help Charlie, and if there are people that know Charlie and who know about his situation or his condition and whether or not he can trust those people. So, yeah, basically, it's a movie about Alan and not Charlie. I mean, if you would have a superhero movie, like for example, the original Batman movie with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, you wouldn't say that this is a movie about the Joker and how he is dealing with the situation of this Batman trying to capture him. No, it's a movie about Batman and how he is trying to capture the Joker. So, Batman is the protagonist and the Joker is the antagonist. And if Reign Over Me would be a superhero movie, Alan would be the protagonist and Charlie would be the antagonist. But, in this movie, there isn't really an antagonist because Charlie isn't a bad person. He's just deeply troubled. But, what are Charlie's problems? Well, he is suffering from some kind of post traumatic stress disorder and probably a bunch of other different mental problems because he lost his entire family, his wife, their three kids, and even the family dog in a plane crash on 9/11. And yeah, he's never been, throughout the years, he's never been able to process this, and therefore he's also never been able to move on and live a normal, healthy life. So he's stuck in his own mind and in his own world, so to say. For example, he is constantly listening to music, and he does that to block out his own thoughts, so to say. So it helps him to avoid thinking about the things that he doesn't want to think about. And if you suffer from depression or any kind of anxiety or whatever, you know what it feels like. You know that if you are in a quiet room all by yourself with your own thoughts and your own mind, even a minute can feel like an eternity. It feels like hours. And yeah, that's why he's constantly listening to music. And little fun fact, every song that is played in this movie is either shown on Charlie's iPod or mentioned by Charlie himself. So that's like a little fun fact. Um, Also, Charlie is constantly remodeling his kitchen. And, I'm not just talking about painting or putting up new wallpapers or something like this. No, he is remodeling the entire kitchen. We're talking about a new sink and a new stove and everything. And he does that every couple of months for like the past couple of years. And you would think, okay, but this costs a lot of money. Yes, Charlie has a lot of money. He's probably some kind of a multi-millionaire because he got some government payoff and probably also money from an insurance company or whatever. So, yeah, he has a lot of money. And another thing that he does is he's constantly playing this video game, Shadow of the Colossus. Now, this is also a very crucial part in this movie because in this game, there is this girl that died, and then there are those ancient spirits telling you that you could bring her back to life by going out and killing those 16 giants, those 16 gigantic creatures. And yeah, this is basically exactly what he wants. He wants to be able to do something in order to cheat death and bring somebody that he loves back to life. So, yeah, the game is giving him the chance to kind of fulfill this fantasy in a way. And yes, I'm not talking about the whole moral aspect or the moral problems in this game. I mean, is it really okay to kill 16 majestic, peaceful creatures only to bring one human back to life? I would say no, but that's not part of this video. So yeah, and Charlie is like deeply troubled, and then Alan comes into his life. Alan is apparently his old college roommate. They have been college roommates for like 2 years. And first, he doesn't even remember Alan, which is like a really weird thing. And yeah, you can immediately tell that whenever Charlie is talking, you can tell that he's not really there, kind of. He's lost in his own mind, in his own world. And as soon as Alan is trying to bring up Charlie's family, whenever he starts asking about him, Charlie is immediately lashing out at Alan. Charlie is also kind of like completely paranoid in a way because the parents of his wife, of his dead wife, they also have been trying to get into contact with him, and he just doesn't want that. And then he thinks that Alan has been sent by them to kind of get Charlie into talking about things that he doesn't want to talk about. But it's not just Alan's, it's not just Charlie's family. It's also when Alan is asking Charlie if he misses being a dentist, if he's missing that. This is also enough to get Charlie to lash out and starting a fight with Alan and destroying his office or whatever. It's, yeah, destroying the waiting room. Yeah, this is like the typical reaction of a person that feels kind of trapped or cornered in a way. It's kind of like when you corner a wild animal or a cat, eventually it's starting to attack you. And yeah, this is like Charlie is a really troubled person with a lot of problems, and he definitely needs help, but he's just not ready for it. But sometimes you have to force people to get help. It doesn't always help, especially when you have an addict, like a drug addict or an alcoholic or something like this. If you force those people to go into rehab or something like this, usually this doesn't help. This doesn't work. Those people have to decide themselves that they want help. Otherwise, yeah, it just doesn't work. I don't know how it is with post-traumatic stress disorder and stuff like that. But yeah, Charlie isn't the only person that has a lot of problems. I mean, Alan has problems as well. He made a bunch of other dentists apparently very rich, and they act as if he owes them something when in actual fact they are owing a lot to Alan, or they owe a lot to Alan. And then there is this girl who is hitting on Alan, and at one point she's even offering him a blowjob, but he doesn't take that offer because he's married and he's faithful. And then she decided to kind of sue him when he told her that she has to find a different dentist. And yeah, then his colleagues are putting pressure on Alan when in actual fact they should cover him and not the other way around. And you might think, okay, what kind of a woman is hitting on a guy that much, especially when she knows that he is married? And why would you sue somebody for not taking the offer of a blowjob or whatever? But later on, we find out that she is also deeply troubled and very heartbroken. So she has been married for 10 years and found out that her husband had basically a second life for 5 years with another woman. So yeah, this really destroyed her, and this is why she started doing things that she normally wouldn't do. Also, Alan seems to have the problem that he feels kind of trapped in his marriage. I mean, he's not really unhappy, but the problem is that he's constantly spending time with his wife because he has no buddies to hang out with. He doesn't has any, typical guy hobby or hobbies or whatever. So yeah, in a way, this is also one of the reasons why he wants to help Charlie, because it gives him the opportunity to leave the house and to kind of quote unquote get away from his wife. So this is also one of those problems that he has, but it's nothing compared to the problems that Charlie has. So who are some of the other people in Charlie's life? Kind of. Well, there's the landlord or the landlady. Yeah, she is always trying to take care of everything and protect Charlie from the parents of his dead wife. But they just wanna talk to him. They don't want any money from him. They are not blaming him for anything, or they just want him in their life. Then there is also his accountant, Mr. Sugarman. And this is also like an interesting thing. For some reason, nobody seems to like Sugarman. I don't know why. But he tells Alan that he has been Charlie's best friend. They were going fishing together, their families were hanging out together. But ever since Charlie's family died, this was over. This completely changed, and Charlie didn't want to have anything to do with Sugarman anymore. I mean, yes, Sugarman is still his accountant, but yeah, Charlie just doesn't want to spend time with him anymore. And the reason why he wants to spend time with Alan is because Alan doesn't know anything about Charlie's family. He doesn't know anything about his wife and their kids and a dog, and that's why Charlie thinks, okay, Alan is not going to ask any questions about them. So he thinks that Alan would just leave him alone. And this is also why he is always lashing out if Alan doesn't leave him alone. kind of, because it's not what he wants from this friendship. But, later in the movie, he kind of starts to realize that he needs help. And he also feels guilty for the things that he does. I mean, he told his accountant after one of those fights that he should give Alan $1 million to kind of make up for everything. But Alan doesn't take that money because he's a good guy. He's not greedy or anything like this. He just wants to help Charlie. And another interesting thing is that Charlie immediately kind of falls in love or is fascinated by this woman that offered Alan a blowjob. I mean, first he didn't know her, but when he first saw her, he's like blown away by how beautiful she is. And yeah, she is also like the only person that he lets in his life. But it's not as easy or as simple as it sounds. It sounds like, oh, there is Alan starting to help Charlie, hanging out with him, and then over time, Charlie is getting better and better. That's unfortunately not the case, because Alan decided he has this psychiatrist who is kind of like a friend of him, and he's always waiting for her during lunch break, and he always wants to discuss his problems with her. So they are friends in a way, and he figured, okay, maybe she can help Charlie. So he told Charlie to go and see her, and yeah, every time he's not really cooperating in a way, and he always says, well, is this session over? And she says, well, if you want it to be over, then it's over. And he says, yes, I want it to be over. But then eventually she is confronting him with the fact that it doesn't help if he always comes back but never talks about the things that are buried deep inside him. And when he asks her if the session is over, and she says no, it's just getting started. This is like this is a moment that really gets you. But he still refused to talk to her. Instead, he decided to talk to Alan about his problems and how it all happened and how he saw it on the news, and that he saw the plane crashing into one of the buildings, and that he felt them burning. He started thinking about them more and more, and apparently he also started watching television a little bit more instead of just playing this video game. And then there's also those things that he sees on television that reminds him of all those terrible things. And when he's in that liquor store, there is on the news, we can see there is something about a new terror threat or terrorist threat or something, which reminds him of 9/11. And then he's also watching this old black and white movie where people are happy and dancing around, and it's just too much for him. He just can't take it anymore. He's kind of overwhelmed. So he's searching for his old gun because he wants to kill himself, but the gun isn't loaded. There are no bullets. So he's going through the house searching for the bullets, and while he's walking through the house, he has those flashbacks of his family, and he thought, okay, how can I kill myself if I don't have any bullets? And then he thought, okay, we are in America, so if I am pulling a gun on somebody, maybe this person will shoot me, or maybe the cops will shoot me. And so he's outside, and then he sees those cops sitting there eating something. So he walks in front of the cab, and then he starts arguing with the cab driver, and then he pulls out his gun, threatening the cab driver, and then the cops come out, and he's pointing his gun at one of the cops, hoping that the cop would shoot him, which I'm pretty sure he would normally do in real life. I mean, show me one person, one cop in America that wouldn't shoot anybody if he's pointing a gun at you. But no, instead of shooting him, there is his partner tackling him from behind. So, yeah, that didn't work out. And then they decide that they want to put Charlie into a mental hospital. But this isn't really the kind of help that he needs. And then there is this whole court trial. And it's not really fair that this guy is showing pictures of Charlie's kids and his family, and then, as if this wouldn't be enough, he's putting those pictures right in front of Charlie, and this just breaks him. And luckily, the judge understands the pain that Charlie is going through. So instead of deciding what he thinks should happen to Charlie, he's giving his parents, or basically the parents of his dead wife, the opportunity to decide what they think is best for Charlie, what kind of help they think he needs. And yeah, it's a really great and heartbreaking movie. In the end, Charlie decides to move, and the parents of his wife, I think they shouldn't know where he lives because he doesn't want them to be part of his life as of right now, because he's still processing all this. And he said, he's not angry at them. It's just that he has nobody else. He doesn't even have parents because his parents died when he was in grade school. So yeah, he said that he sees his wife, his dead wife, in other people's faces. When he's walking around, he sees them every day. He even sees the family dog. So when he's looking at a German Shepherd, he sees their poodle. And that's how messed up he really still is. But he will eventually get through it, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it's a very heartbreaking movie, and definitely one of the best Adam Sandler movies, if you ask me. So yeah, that's it. I hope you like this video. I hope you go and watch this movie if you haven't seen it already. And that's it. There are more movie passion videos on my channel. I have a whole playlist over there, and a lot of other different random videos about technology, mini discs, flip clocks, whatever. Just go out, check it out, and yes, I see you in the next video, and maybe in the next movie passion video. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.